Hey everyone. Hi, welcome back. If you are just joining me here, today's another FB Live session. Thank you for joining me. I know some of you joined me half an hour earlier. And today's Facebook Live is basically a Q&A session. And so it's an opportunity for you if you are if you have any aches and pains. I'm an international physical and emotional pain relief expert, so any questions related to that, if you have any, or if you, are curious, what is it that I do? What is EFT, and how do you do tapping? Or if you have questions related to stress or relationship pain or work pain or physical aches and pains in different parts of the body, please ask me your questions here. And, if you are brand new here, then welcome. My name is Shalini Joshi Amdagni, and I am an international physical and emotional pain relief expert and a best-selling author. And what I do is I help people in pain who are feeling stuck for a while, who've been feeling stuck, and they've been trying different things to overcome whatever it is that's going on with them, and not getting the relief. I help them, overcome whatever they're feeling stuck with, so that they can move forward with their lives, feeling peace and clarity. So, I had asked, welcome. I don't know who's here. Please come in. If you're here, come in and say hello. So that we can engage. I love to connect with people, and this is a great way. So if you're here, do come in and say hello. And even if you're watching on replay, just pop in and say hello. And if you have questions, please post them. So I decided to do this Q&A because I was getting questions, and I thought, why not address them in the Facebook Live. So, I'm going to pick, there's a question about jaw pain. Okay, that's something I'm going to be addressing. I think it was Pachari who asked, yesterday she had some jaw pain, and what the heck is this all about? As she also had another question about chasing the pain. And of course, Pachari is someone, she's an old client and a good friend now, and she's very familiar. She's actually an EFT expert herself, but she was asking, what is this thing in EFT about chasing the pain, and how come sometimes, you have pain in one part of the body and you do the tapping and now you feel it in another part of the body? So that's one of the questions I'm going to be answering. There was someone who posted that yesterday that, I am in this massive confusion where one day I feel like, yep, this is what I want and I really want it. And the next day is like, nope, this is definitely what I don't want. And so how do I, resolve this dilemma? So that's what we're going to be addressing as well. And just recently, when I, about 15-20 minutes ago, when I was just doing a live reminder for this show, someone asked, Michael was asking that, when you have loss, psychologists say that it takes 2 to 5 years to overcome, loss. And is there a way that we can speed up that process so that we can deal better with it and overcome it faster or cope with it better? So that's what we're going to look at today. And if you have questions right now, then please do comment below. Please do, share your questions below, and I will look at them and I will answer them. So, coming back to the first question, jaw pain. So Pachari, you asked that question, and jaw pain, when you think of jaw pain, the normal tendency to think is that, okay, because the jaw is connected to the teeth, and usually if you go to the doctor, or if you just logically think about it, right, it's usually when you're clenching your teeth and when grinding the teeth, whether you are awake. I know people who are sleeping and they're still clenching and grinding their teeth, and they think that's the reason why they have the jaw pain. And for you specifically, Pachari, you said yesterday you were experiencing jaw pain. And after working with lots of people over the past 10 years, being a pain relief expert, one of the things I know for sure is that physical pain is way more than what you're physically experiencing. In fact, most of it is actually an emotional thing that's going on within. And pain is just a way your body speaks out and reaches out to you, letting you know that something's painful within. So, you mentioned yesterday that you were, I don't know if you were at a meeting and, things weren't going the way you wanted it to, and people were butting in, and people were, I don't really understand what exactly happened, but, I thought you were saying that people who were not part of the meeting or who were not relevant were butting in and putting their suggestions, and and at that time you could sense pain in the jaw, right? And the interesting thing is that jaw pain, I have said it many times over the last 10 years that each part of your body, the pain in different parts of the body has a different message, right? Of course, it's all about what's going on inside of you, every single pain, but it's kind of like a different message. And jaw pain is usually holding on, not being able to express what you want to express, or withholding back what you want to say. And usually it's associated with the emotions of anger, resentment, frustration. So if your jaw pain, if you have jaw pain, and it's not, it's not a chronic jaw pain, like it's been going on for months and months or years and years or decades and decades, if you just have a jaw pain like random, like Pachari, at a meeting, then you have to go back and think about what's pissing you off, what's ticking you, what's making you angry. It's like there's this tightness. So where are you feeling uptight about a certain situation, about people, what's going on? And that's, usually it's to do with anger. So maybe, as you shared that you were at a meeting and people who are not even related to the meeting were, butting in and giving suggestions or trying to get involved. And this was, you didn't like it. So maybe it was anger. Okay, so jaw is usually associated with anger. And so Pachari is an expert in tapping. So if you just tap on the anger and the frustration you were feeling because of this scenario, and the thing is, you may still have the jaw pain, even though this meeting happened yesterday, you may still have the jaw pain. I don't know, you're not here online right now, but so it doesn't matter. You have to go back and think about what was bothering you, what was angering you, a situation, a person, a group of people, whatever, and then access that feeling, feel it, and tap on it. And I promise you, the intensity will go down. Not only that, when you tap, when you actually use the EFT tapping properly, then you'll see that not only has the pain gone down, but the way you were feeling about the situation, your perspective about the whole thing has also shifted. And you will not be feeling the high intensity anger. Maybe you'll be, maybe when you do the tapping, it'll come down and you'll say, what the heck was that all about? Like, why did they have to butt in? And it's not anger, it's just like, just annoyance, which is a very different intensity from anger. And if you do a couple of more rounds, you might even, which is not might, actually, it's always like that, always, you come to a place of peace And like the whole movie shifts. Like maybe it doesn't even bother you, and you think, why the heck was I so mad about this silly incident? Like there's better things in life to focus on. And so the whole incident shifts. But if you ignore this jaw pain, then it just stored, and then it'll show up again at another time in a stronger way. So that's about jaw pain. And if any of you have pain in your jaw, or know people, you can share this with them, right? And so they know what is the root cause of jaw pain. Okay, so jumping on to, because we are still on the pain topic. So chasing the pain is, this question is from someone who actually knows EFT already. And chasing the pain is a phrase we use in EFT when, sometimes we have pain. I have clients, okay, for example, and they may say, Shalini, I have lower back pain. And we start tapping with our fingertips. If you don't know about tapping, EFT, emotional freedom techniques, it's kind of like an emotional acupuncture. If you're familiar with acupuncture, when the acupuncturist sticks needles in different parts of your body and stimulates a current, and the needles vibrate, right? They kind of like vibrate there, and it's supposed to clear out the blocks. EFT is like acupuncture, except it's emotional acupuncture. So you tune in, you don't just sit there and tap the acupuncture points, but you also think about what's stressing me out, what's bothering me, what's angering me, what's upsetting me, what's stressing me out, what's pissing me off, okay? So that's EFT tapping. And so once because you're accessing things that are already there, people say, why would you want to bring up negative things and think about those things? Well, it's not that you are bringing up negative things, but those things are already there, and you're kind of bringing them up to clear them out. Just like, when you clean your house, you have to collect the dirt first, right? Before you can collect it together and trash it out. But if there's dirt lying everywhere and you don't collect it to trash it out, it just keeps lying there and adds up, right? So that's what we do in EFT. So sometimes, getting back to the chasing the pain, sometimes my clients will come and they'll start with physical pain in the lower back, and we tap, tap, tap about pain in the lower back. And then they say, oh, Shalini, the pain is not in my lower back anymore. It's in my middle back, okay? And they're confused because what's going on, like it was lower back. And then you do some more tapping and it might go to your left shoulder. Happens all the time. So what does it really mean? It means, that, like I said, pain is a message that something is, it's not about what's going on with me physically, only a bit of it is, but more, the question is what's going on with me emotionally. And I say this often in my talks, that emotions buried alive never die. They get stored in your cells. They overload your system, they deplete your immunity, and eventually cause pain and disease. And the thing is, this pain gets stored in different parts of your body. So as you kind of bring up one experience, right, and you're talking about it and it's related to the lower back, or you're just physically tapping on the lower back, now as you clear that pain, it shifts to the other areas where it's stored. Maybe it's related to that issue, okay? It's because your body is not. It's like it's a whole piece, so it's all interconnected, and your feelings get stored in different parts of your body, right? And so as you try to clear out one pain from one part of the body, maybe that gets cleared and another piece shows up. It's like opening a can. It's like peeling the onion layers. And that's what happens. So this pain may be stored in this part of the body. And as you clear that, we keep chasing the pain wherever it's showing up, within the shoulder, within the head, within the neck, until it doesn't feel like it's there. And that's what we call chasing the pain. So Patri, I hope this is helpful for you. And if you have questions about how to do the EFT tapping, I'll post a link here so that you know what I'm talking about, and it gives you a better clue. Hi Simi, hi Romy, hi Natalie. Welcome. If you have any question about stress, physical pain, aches, and whatever, even diseases like thyroid, or over the last 10 years I've worked with so many people with so many diseases, but diseases are simply a state of dis-ease. And so once you clear the dis-ease that you are feeling within, then the symptom or whatever the disease is, tends to kind of disappear. So the other question, so we dealt with jaw pain, and if you haven't followed that, go back and watch this. I've been talking about chasing the pain, okay? And let me go to this this question. So this person was asking that Shalini, I'm so confused. I'm in this place of, one day I really want this thing and I really want to keep it, and and the other day I feel like, I don't want to have this in my life, and I don't want this person or this situation. And I'm sure many of you can relate to this place of, this confusion or this lack of clarity. And, it's a natural thing, because when you're going through life, you go through a whole landscape, emotional landscape, physical landscape, mental landscape, right? Every single day you're going through all kinds of experiences. And so it's natural for us to go through these feelings of lack of clarity, feeling clear-minded, feeling confused. But, when you have a situation or a person, you mentioned Subhagya is the person who asked this question. And if you're thinking of a person or a situation, then, what you also want to ask yourself is, okay, so first acknowledge it. I'm very confused, right? And then, what I would tend to do is ask myself, does having this person, does it feel empowering in my life or disempowering, or mostly empowering or mostly disempowering? On a scale of 0 to 10, if I have this situation in my life, or I have this person in my life, mostly 10 is like, mostly I feel amazing, mostly this person is great, and the other end is like 0. It's never happy, it's never great, this person always pulls me down, drains me out, it's never fun, I feel depleted, I feel drained, I feel unhappy, right? So once you acknowledge that you are in this place of confusion, then it's okay. Then what I would do is ask myself, like 40-60, 20-80, like what is your percentage of how empowered or disempowered do you feel when you have this situation in your life? And the more you think about it, if there's an 8 and 2 ratio, where 2% you feel good and 8% you don't feel good, that gives you a clue, right? Like, do I really want this? And so, a lot of the times I've worked with so many clients, and they'll be in a relationship in which they're unhappy, and they really don't really get anything meaningful out of it. They've been unhappy for a long time, but because of habit, right? It's just because of habit. We're used to the person. We are used to this situation. You've heard about so many women staying in abusive relationships, and they don't get out, right? And I'm sure they go through this. I want this one day and I don't want it one day, but they still stick around because of habit, because of comfort zone, because it's painful, but this is what they've been used to. And whatever you're used to, your brain says, hey, this is familiar, I can deal with this. right? And unfamiliar is, oh my God, maybe it's even worse out there. So that's why out of habit, you stay in that circle of confusion, or you stay with this person who is not bringing you happiness or peace or any sense of empowerment. And so you want to ask yourself, staying in this situation, do I feel empowered, not empowered? What is the percentage? And if on a daily basis, you think about that, you start getting clearer, and it becomes easier for you to take a clear decision. I hope you are relating to this, if you're resonating with this, or if you have a better way, how do you deal with a state of confusion where you want something one day and you don't want something the other day, and how do you deal with it? I would love to know. So please comment below. This is what just came at the top of my head right now. And so I hope this helps a little bit, Subhagya. And the other question that Michael was asking just a little while ago when I did my Facebook Live, just as a reminder, Michael was asking that, psychologists, his comment is in my Facebook post below, not this one, but another one. And Michael was asking, psychologists say that it takes 2 to 5 years to overcome this sense of loss and grieving. And do you think there's a better way, or is there a faster way we can overcome this feeling of loss and grieving? And, I agree, grieving and loss of anything, right? Loss of a relationship, loss of a person physically not there, loss of a pet, loss of a friendship, right? A friendship that used to be there but isn't there anymore, a partnership, whatever the loss is. I'm not here to, grieving is very specific to everyone, and every culture has its a way to grieve the loss of someone. So I'm not here to tell you how you should grieve, but definitely the grieving process can be, you can make it easier, I guess, with tools and strategies. For me, the tool is emotional freedom techniques. And just because you're here, I want to let me tell you this with a story, okay? Many years ago, I had a client, a mother, and she had, when she came to me, she had suffered the loss of her 3-year-old daughter. She had other kids, but her 3-year-old daughter had died. And she came to me after watching, attending a few of my workshops, and she was in a lot of pain. And she said, Shalini, we just don't talk about my daughter in my family. We pretend like she didn't even exist. It's so painful that nobody even talks about it. Nobody, the kids, her other kids were not talking about it. Her husband and her were not talking about it. And so, we started working together. And one of the first things is to just acknowledge that this is how I'm feeling, instead of pushing aside and locking up those feelings in a box and just shoving it under the carpet. Just acknowledging the loss is so powerful. And just to acknowledge that this is the loss and this is how I'm feeling. So we began there, that she's not there anymore. And as we went through, what had happened to her daughter is that she was sick, and she couldn't, even when she was born, she had some unique issues. She couldn't sit up, she couldn't talk at all. So there was no communication, and all the communication was just with the eyes. She could listen, but she couldn't communicate. So, the mother felt so sad and bad because she didn't know what kind of pain her daughter was in, and then trying to go from hospital to hospital in different countries, and there was so much to this grieving, this pain. First, just trying to help her deal with this medical condition that her daughter had, listening to relatives who are sometimes can be so careless and telling her like, why are you investing so much money and traveling the world to care for her when there's no point, because the doctors say there's no solution, right? And that's the worst thing for a mother to hear. It's painful. And so the way we worked with it is, first of all, acknowledging and really feeling the pain, right? You acknowledge it and allow yourself to feel it, because otherwise it's just getting stored inside and it overloads. Grieving can be a really, taxing experience emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually. And so it's, people think crying is weak and crying is not being strong. But for me, my theory is crying is a cleansing. It's a cleansing of your mind. It's like showering, right? When you take a shower, you feel all cleansed and cleared. When it rains, it's this heavy downpour happens, and then everything looks fresher and clearer and more prettier, in my view. And so allowing yourself to really let it go and just really feeling that loss and crying can help you get to a much easier place, far easier, I think, than just talking about it and talking about it and talking about it. So feeling it, and then of course, the technique, for me, the fastest and easiest and the most effective way to handle this is using the EFT tapping. And so I would think of this person, this situation, which I'm mourning, and tap on the acupuncture points, the EFT points. I'll put a link of it on my video. But when you truly tune in and tap on these acupuncture points, kind of like a little movie in your head, and seeing what happened and just feeling it and tapping on the acupuncture points to release it, you'll see. I mean, I've had clients who have been, women who've been raped by their stepfathers, mothers who've lost their children, husbands who've lost their wives, and there's a lot of loss. And it does not have to be 2 to 5 years of grieving and staying in that pain for that extended period. And please don't confuse this with that, that means I'll be able to move on without this grieving for this person that I've loved so much, and just move on and feeling guilt. A lot of us tend to feel guilt, like, oh my God, I'm not grieving. And the thing is, it's not about that, but it's more about coming quickly to a place of peace by handling it, by using the tools that you have, so that you don't, every time you think of that person, you don't want to feel pain and sorrow and sadness and helplessness and hopelessness, but allowing yourself to heal quickly so that you can come to this place of peace and cherish this person that you love so much, and cherish those moments, and cherish the how this person empowered you, and what's how you can stand and gain from this person's presence in your life. So like kind of twisting it around, but it doesn't happen until you actually feel it and release it, whether through crying, whatever your process is. I use EFT. So going back to the mom who lost her 3-year-old, it really wasn't years. It was more like 3 months. And she was then able to walk around. She lost a lot of weight, emotionally releasing all this heaviness. And also, one day she came and she showed me her wallet. And inside there was the picture of her daughter. Now, she hadn't thought about, touched the albums or done anything with her daughter because it was just so painful. But now I said, so what do you feel now? You've got this picture of your beautiful daughter in your wallet, and how does that feel? And she was talking about, like, she feels happy, that she's in a peaceful place, that we are all here temporary, and that we will be together, we will be united, but just knowing that she's not in a place of pain anymore was what was more prominent for this mom. And what happened is that, eventually she started bringing out the albums of her birth and sharing them with her children, and they actually began to celebrate her birthday every year, light a candle. And so the grieving didn't happen over years. It was more like months, and coming to this, beautiful place of peace and love and gratitude and appreciation that, thank God she's in a better place right now. So I hope that answered your question. Hi, I'm going to say hi to a lot of Anju, hi Geeta, hi Papa, hi Hani. Thank you for being here, and I hope this is helping. Hi Romy. And if you have any questions related to physical pain, please comment. Any questions about stress and strain. In this Q&A live, it's all about answering your questions. So we were talking about jaw pain, we were talking about chasing the pain, we were talking about how to come to a place of clarity when you're in this place of complete confusion. And I was also just recently talking about how you can overcome loss faster and cope with it better, so you don't spend 5 years in this place of sadness and grief, because it takes a big toll on your body, on your mind. And this life is truly a gift. And what if we could come to a place of peace and appreciation faster, right? And appreciate the person and how this person gave us all these gifts by their presence in our lives. Is so empowering, and you want to move forward in your life from an empowering place. So if you have any questions, please do ask on the comments below. And that's all the questions that I have. So that's about it for now. Thank you for joining me, and if you have any more questions, please do ask. And I do these Facebook Lives every single week, every Thursday, Bangkok, 11 a.m., which is 8 p.m. Pacific time. I think it's exactly 12 hours Eastern time. And so, I don't know what I'm going to do next, but if you have questions, and if I get a ton of questions, I will answer them in my next Facebook Live again. So be sure to post your questions. Thank you for joining me. If you got anything out of it, please leave a comment. And if you feel like there's a family member, a contact, a friend or colleague who might benefit from this, please do share. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys. Thank you. Thank you once again.